All right. So people need to stop giving Trump the oxygen to even in any which way, shape, or form, be delusional enough to think that in any which way he's right. Let's explain a few things. With the claim of presidential immunity, bullshit. All right? Understand. Despite the factor that that's been a courtesy that's been extended from one administration to another. All right? Courtesy. All right? Ultimately, there's also another norm or normality that he ended up breaking. You know what that was? The peaceful transition of power. All right? Ultimately, the one thing that ended up going ahead that every other administration ended up having in common that his administration didn't end up having was when their term was up, they went and they peacefully and gracefully backed away, recognized, okay, I need to go ahead and leave the White House. I am no longer having this job. All right. And the irony of, the person who had the catchphrase, you fired, being pissed off that they got fired. All right. Listen, the the only reason at this point that anybody, would actually be delusional enough to go ahead and vote for the guy would be to go ahead and see him get fired again. I mean, literally complete and total train wreck of an entire administration. So then to end up having to hear all day from my family, like, no, Trump was right, should have run this country like a business and everything. No, no, the only people that have that opinion are the people that got away with extorting people. So you really need to recognize, like, it's completely on its face obvious, the factor of usually if you're supporting, the whole situation with Trump, it's because of the factor that you did something wrong and you got away with it under the, basically the umbrella of, or the guise of, impropriety that basically got overshadowed by that entire administration. All right. So, way to tell on yourself. But when it comes down to the whole, the way to go ahead and look at the peaceful transition of power, it's been an unspoken agreement, between presidents that, incoming and outgoing, of basically, hey, so we recognize this is one of the most difficult positions that anybody in the country could go ahead and obtain. So, because of how much and how draining that job is, and how many no win scenarios on a constant basis there are, ultimately, when the people say that you are no longer allowed or capable of being able to be in that position or stable enough to be in said position, then you go ahead, you bow out gracefully, you leave. You go ahead, you take your retirement from that, you know. Ultimately, you stay out of the public spotlight. You just, you go to the farm. You get sent to the farm. And you accept it. And in exchange, any of the no-win scenarios that ultimately ended up going ahead and, could have had any type of improprieties, any type of wrongdoing and everything, we're going to overlook it. What does he do, though? Like a tantruming baby, he goes ahead and, just like, no, screw that. I want that job back. I want that place back. I was able to go ahead and get so much more attention than I ever had in my life. Well, everything you did wrong in your lifetime, all ended up going ahead and coming out too. I mean, we're talking everything down to the factor of the only reason that, had any type of finances whatsoever was because of the factor that your daddy was also a con man. And, yeah, he had basically been bilking people, and going ahead and financially raping the real estate market, since the point of the Great Depression. So, why do you think nobody wants to trust you with making any type of decisions? You didn't bring any jobs. You ended up going ahead and causing mass destruction to the real estate industry. While at the same time, too, housing discrimination rampant, literally discriminatory filings and, lawsuits. I mean, you literally went and started a scenario that at this point could only be compared to the fucking Nazi regime, while at the same time going ahead and wondering, why are people so upset? And the funny thing is, one of the biggest problems that ended up starting this situation was people that had any type of hate crimes or anything on their record, losing their ability to be able to vote, getting their ability to vote back. And it's like, ultimately the one thing that didn't end up getting checked was, hey, so conditionally, we'll consider giving your vote some importance again. Condition, though. We as a society need to know that you do not identify with those views anymore. That you understand everyone in society is equal. You need to stop discriminating against disabled people. You need to stop discriminating against people, within the queer community. You need to go ahead and stop, discriminating against people based on all manners of discrimination, while at the same time trying to go ahead and excuse the factor of, well, I don't see these people as people because I don't think these people should exist. Well, guess what? We don't see that, we don't think that you being in politics is something that should ever exist. I mean, the fucked up thing is, ultimately, if it wasn't for The Simpsons going ahead and having that whole trope of, Trump being president, which was only supposed to act as a plot armor scenario of, basically giving Lisa, some, a situation that was completely and utterly out of her control. Lisa Simpson being completely and utterly out of her control. Considering the factor of how much of a control freak her character is, that idea and that reality would never, ever have been something. The only way that anybody would do that is anybody that just sits around, watches too much fucking TV, gets absorbed into reality shows, and the only thing that they fucking care about is going ahead and just staring behind a screen like a mindless fucking zombie.